Hi guys, I'm going to show you one way how to make a wooden arrow for a traditional longbow. These are going to suit the longbow that I use, which is a 45 pound bow. So the arrows, the shafts have to be fairly substantial. This is one of my old ones, still intact. So there's the shaft. Basically going to make one similar to this design. It's got some wraps. 3 feathers. These are parabol shaped feathers, standard knock, and a steel field point. These are 100 grams on the tip. Now, first thing is the shaft. These are 32-inch cedar shafts. Now I will be cutting them down a bit, so I use around 31-inch shafts. But cedar is a very good material for using for arrow shafts. It's flexible, it's also quite strong. So cedar is what I use anyway. You've got your field point. That's a 100 gram standard steel screw field point. There's your knock that's going to be glued onto the end. Feathers, we usually have 2 yellow, 1 black. And a simple way really is 2-sided adhesive tape that I use to stick the feathers on, and I use these little wraps that once the arrow is done they go on around there, and it's well good for sticking the feathers on with the tape as well. And this is my taper tool. One side you get your point for the arrow point, and the other end tapers it for your knock, so very useful. All this stuff I get online basically, or order it online. This is my jig for the feathers for fletching, and I'll show you how that works a bit later on. Okay, and obviously cement for gluing the knock on as well. Now this time, I don't usually, but this time I'm going to treat the shafts with some linseed oil. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over each of the shafts with a slight bit of linseed, just so that it sort of brings out the effect of the grain, because sometimes in the cedar it's got some real nice grain. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to, I won't bore you with all of them, but I'm just going to try this on one of the shafts. So let's get a bit of the linseed oil and wrap it over the shaft. And just slightly go up and down. Don't think it needs a great deal. Just a quick wipe over. Never tried this before. I have stained the shafts before, which has been quite nice. But we'll see how that does. And yeah, look, so it's brought out the grain a little bit. I don't know whether you can see that there. Now that is going to take a good few hours to dry, so I'm just going to go through the rest of the shafts. We'll leave them to dry, and then I'll come back to show you the next part. Hi folks, I've gone over with the linseed oil on all the shafts, and that's had plenty of time to dry, so they're ready to go. And they are, as I said to you earlier, they were a little bit longer than I require for my bow, so I actually have taken off a bit, not much, only that much at the ends. But I've done that on each of the shafts, so they're ready to go now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to put the taper on both ends with the taper tool for the knock and the field point. Now with these field points, they are screw in, and they actually fit quite nice as it is over the end, so I'm only going to take a little bit off on the end just to centralize it on the thread when I screw that in. But let's show you how it's done. It's basically just a pencil sharpener, that's all. But you've got 2 angles. You've got one for steeper angle, which is literally for the knock. So just as you would a pencil sharpener. Turn around just a few turns. Can you see that? And that's really just enough then for the knock to go on, and obviously that'll be glued in position as well. But it's just so you can centralize it and it fits in there nice. And the other end, we're using the lesser degree, and with this one, literally I'm only going to go round it once, So there's a little bit of a taper on there, but that's just enough then just to guide the point on, and I'll screw that on when it's ready, and might put a bit of cement on there as well just to secure it in place. That's it. I'll get the rest of them done. Now that that's done, next bit is to put the knock on. Now the knock needs to be on and it needs to be secure in order to go into the jig for the fletching, because the knock fits into that end. So this is really the next part to be done. So I'll just get on and do that. Okay, all the knocks now are glued in place, so it's just a matter of just putting these wraps round, and they're only transfers, so it's just a matter of peeling the back off. Would help if I had nails. There you go. Okay, so there's the back. I'm going to place that down on the table. One of the shafts. I'm going to put it to the end of the knock. So I just position it down there on the table just enough, and then slowly wrap it round as you're going, to ensure you're getting all the air out, and then finally coming round to the end. There you go, simple as that, and that will give a good surface then to stick the fletches on. Great, I'll get the rest of these done. Okay, now the transfers are all on, we can start putting the feathers on. These are turkey feathers, they're dyed obviously, all different colours. You can get all sorts of different colours, shapes, lengths as well. I find that the 4-inch shape feather goes well with my shooting, and I have the lead feather in black, and that's just to indicate where it goes on the actual string, and the knock string goes down here, black feather on the outside, so that when the arrow leaves the bow it's clean, you don't get any interference there from a feather that could be push the arrow off target. Okay, so we'll have a look at the fletcher. Here you've got parts where I can remove this. This is just a clamp, and you can clamp the feather in there. It's got segments here, so you can adjust the distance the feather will be placed in relation to the knock. Now this does have a bearing on accuracy and the shooting style that you have, whether you go for short range, long range, but it's the whole, you have to balance it for your type of shooting style. I go for about 1 centimetre from the knock, and that seems to suit my style again, and it gives fairly good accuracy at long and medium range as well. So I just find that suits my style. Other people like them further away or closer to the knock. It depends on your style of shooting and also maybe the type of bow. Anyway, so the feather's in there. We're going to do the black feather first. This has also got a little mark on the knock to indicate where the lead arrow goes. So I'm just going to put that in there. That slots in there, and you see then the jig comes down, the clamp comes down, and you've got the position of the feather there where you're going to need to put the tape on. So double-sided fletching tape. Again, I ordered this online. It's very strong tape, very good adhesive. and it just makes the job of fletching so much quicker than using the glue, because you have to wait until the glue dries before you can go on to the next feather, whereas with this you just stick it on, cut it to length, there you go, slide it around, put that back where I want it, thank you very much. Okay, smooth it down a little bit, and then it's just a case of go again, finding the edge, taking the red strip off so that the adhesive is showing there. Make sure the shaft is in the right position. You've got the feather where you want it, and it's just a case of pushing it down in place like that. Open the clamp, take that out, and job done. There you go. So then you move that round to the next position, put that in, next feather. Again, make sure that you've got it in the same position so that when you come to put it in the clamp, it goes down there. Double-sided tape again. And there you have it. Now I'll go and do the rest of them, and we'll come back, and it's just a case of putting the tip on. Great. Okay, so the only thing left to do now is to stick the fill points on. Now I am going to use a little bit of cement just to secure them in place. Not much. And it is just a case of putting them on. They are threaded, so just get a pair of pliers, just give it a final little twerk, and that's it. Arrow done. Now I'll just get the other ones done now. And there you have it. There's my 10 arrows. Fill point, shaft, 3 feathers, the knock on the end and the wrap. And they're ready to go. So I'll put them in my quiver and we'll go and test them out. Hopefully not break them. Thanks YouTube.